A former hairstylist based in FS1's LA studios has sued the network, the parent company, and multiple talent at the network, including Skip Bayless and Joy Taylor. There are many accusations. Drew wrote them up for awfulannouncing.com. There are many ripple effects, I'm sure, to come. But Drew, can you try to encapsulate kind of the gist of what happened here, maybe leaving aside the smaller accusations with people who we haven't heard of, to give like the basics of why this has to matter from a sports media standpoint?
Yeah, I mean, beyond the salaciousness of it all, right? I mean, there are allegations ranging from sexual harassment, racist comments, numerous cases of infidelity at the network that all had an impact on, the actual talent, what shows they were ending up on, the power dynamics at Fox Sports 1, and obviously, what is being alleged in this lawsuit is just of great interest if you're a sports fan, right? Skip Bayless is obviously probably the biggest figure implicated in this lawsuit. And the headline that, every outlet has rightfully gone with is that he allegedly offered this hairstylist $1.5 million for sex. That's, on its surface level, an absurd thing. And that's really just scratching the surface. There's, obviously allegations regarding Joy Taylor, how she ended up, in the positions that she got at Fox Sports 1 on both Undisputed and then later Speak for Yourself. There's, of course, mentions of Emmanuel Acho in relation to Joy Taylor. There's Fox Sports 1 executive Charlie Dixon being involved in all of this, allegedly.
Yeah, and former ESPN executive. So,
yes.
Yeah, that ranges even further.
So, it's a lot to unpack, and there's reason that it has gotten as much attention as it has.
Yeah, so I think that you summed it up well. To me, the bottom lines are Skip Bayless, the rare accusation that's illegal in like multiple different ways, if that one were to play out in any kind of truthful way. Mistreating and offering this woman things and just, allegedly acting in a very unbecoming way. Joy Taylor, using relationships with men at the network in order to gain, move up in the company. That is the allegation against her. And then a lot of management level things that I think just speak to clearly at least one half of the company on the West Coast being run allegedly in a very immoral way, but also just in a not very, becoming and professional way, of course, to say the least. So, Ben, what were your reactions? Again, trying to talk about this in a way that is kind of that 30,000 foot view way. We've talked a lot about FS1's revamp on the show this fall, Skip leaving, where they're kind of going with the Colin Cowherd free agency looming. How does this affect that?
Yeah, so just taking a step back and stuff like this is just like so hard to talk about because they're allegations and you don't want to trip over anything and accuse anyone of something they didn't do. But just based on the lawsuit, like I think all the attention has gone to Skip Bayless and Joy Taylor. And I think in Skip's case, that's probably right because the other accusation in here, I'd argue the biggest accusations are allegations of sexual battery, both against Charlie Dixon, who the hairstylist alleges touched her inappropriately at a party, and Skip Bayless, who was giving her lingering hugs and kisses, unwanted kisses on the cheek. And so when you bring in Joy Taylor, this is like what I've wrestled with is what is Joy Taylor actually being accused of? Like, why is her sex life relevant to a lawsuit like this? And Joy is accused of, I guess you could call it racial discrimination. She made, comments that were racially based, mocking the woman's Persian heritage. But the reason why Joy's sex life is relevant to this story is I think that it shows or it attempts to portray how Fox Sports has this environment where this is expected of you, that you use your sexuality to climb the ranks. And so the hairdresser or hairstylist feels like, that she's being harassed and she's being assaulted essentially, and that's what she is supposed to go along with if she wants to advance there. So I don't like, where do you guys come down on the Joy Taylor aspect of this? Because there's a part of me that thinks like, yeah, this is relevant. And then there's a part of me that thinks like, man, this lawsuit's airing a lot of dirty laundry, and I'm still not fully sure of what Joy Taylor's actually being accused of from a legal standpoint here.
Yeah, I think we should say, right, that like whether everything contained in this lawsuit is true to the exact way that it's stated in the lawsuit, putting these things in there is very clearly it's bringing on a fight. It's initiating guerrilla warfare with the network to get attention in exactly the way that they're getting it when we're talking about it here, and the way that it's being talked about on social media, in order to get to what I think you're right about, Ben, are more serious, like, a lawsuit has to be about something from the plaintiff. And in this case, it's, retaliation, wrongful termination, withholding of wages, and kind of, labor related things. And so when I look at the Joy Taylor side of it, I focus on the fact that the hairdresser, Nushin Faraji is her name. She's been made public. That she is saying that basically the power that Taylor was able to grab onto by allegedly pursuing these men at the network was then used to, manipulate the hairdresser in some ways, to obviously orchestrate and manipulate movement around the network and who got what jobs and what people were aligned with whoever, and basically create a workplace where this type of thing could happen, where somebody could be prevented from moving up, where somebody could not move to a show that they wanted to move to, where the culture and the leadership and management style would be such that somebody could have grounds to, obviously make these claims. So I think that that's why it matters. But what do you think, Drew? You read it probably more thoroughly even than we did.
Yeah, I think you both kind of hit the nail on the head here. This was relevant because it helps build the narrative of what the culture was at Fox Sports, or what the culture allegedly was. And I think the remarkable thing about this lawsuit, it's 42 pages. I'm no lawyer, but from what I've read out there, this is rather uncommon how detailed these allegations are. And it seems as if the hairstylist, she kept a pretty thorough diary. There are
for 7-8 years.
Yes, there are exact dates and months present in the lawsuit. So these claims can be corroborated in some form or fashion, given that there are dates involved here. And then you also kind of got at this, Brendon. This is like a class action lawsuit. And once again, I'm not a lawyer, but I believe, part of that, the reason that so much of this detail is included in the lawsuit is because it is claiming that there was widespread, the victims were widespread in this case. This is not just limited to the hairstylist. So the fact that, maybe on the one hand, Joy Taylor's dirty laundry is being aired out, but it's relevant because it impacted all of these lower level employees.
Yeah, the other thing I would add there too, that you wrote about in your article, Drew, that I think is partly how we can answer Ben's question, is the allegations related to Dixon, right? And so there's two things I think specifically that matter on that side of things. And so Dixon is the guy that one of the men that Taylor allegedly developed a sexual relationship with across years that allowed her to, gain influence and move up. He allegedly kept that situation going and kept it quiet and kept it useful by paying his wife with Fox's money, according to the lawsuit, and paying people in Taylor's life, including one of her ex-husbands, with Fox's money, according to the lawsuit. So that part of it, I think, not only loops Taylor into it and explains why she would be kind of, in the crossfire here, but also speaks to what Drew's talking about, which is that this thing is bigger, and there could be another hairstylist, another production assistant, another that or this person who signs on to this thing and says, oh yeah, those two acting like this also impacted me, let's go.
Yeah, and I think it's important to note that early on in the lawsuit, the lawsuit said that they could possibly add more defendants, including Fox Sports' Eric Shanks, and the other name's Silverman. The other name's slipping my mind. I perhaps got that wrong, but other Fox Sports executives could very well be implicated in this. So right now I think this is kind of just the beginning.